Min knew he was going to die the moment the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across the cockpit of his small cargo ship. The engine made a terrible grinding sound, then went silent. For 3 seconds, everything was quiet except for his own breathing. Then the ship started falling. "No, no, no," Min muttered, pulling hard on the controls. Nothing happened. The steering was dead. The backup systems were dead. Everything was dead. Through the front window, he saw a planet rushing up to meet him. It was green and blue, covered in thick jungle and water. He had never seen this planet before. It was not on any of his maps. That meant it was uncharted. That meant no one knew it existed. That meant no one would come looking for him here. The ship hit the atmosphere and started shaking violently. Min strapped himself into his seat and closed his eyes. He thought about his family back on Earth. He thought about the medical supplies in his cargo hold that would never reach the colony that needed them. He thought this was a stupid way to die. The ship crashed through trees, breaking them like twigs. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Min's head snapped forward and back. Then everything went black. When he woke up, his head hurt. Everything hurt. Sunlight came through a huge crack in the cockpit window. He could hear birds or something like birds making strange calls in the jungle outside. He was alive. Somehow, impossibly, he was alive. Min unstrapped himself and stood up slowly. His right arm hurt, but it was not broken. He had cuts on his face and hands, but nothing serious. The emergency medical kit had fallen from the wall and landed near his feet. He grabbed it and checked himself for major injuries. He was lucky, very lucky. The cargo hold was a mess. Boxes had broken open everywhere. Most of the medical supplies were ruined, but he managed to salvage some bandages, antibiotics, and pain medication. He also found 3 weeks of food rations, water purification tablets, and a small survival kit. The emergency beacon was damaged but still blinking. It was trying to send a signal, but Min had no idea if anyone would receive it out here. He climbed out of the wreck and looked around. The jungle was thick and hot and wet. Massive trees grew everywhere, their branches creating a green ceiling overhead. Strange insects buzzed past his head. In the distance, he heard something roar. It sounded big. Min pulled out his and checked what information it had about the planet. Almost nothing. The scan had only run for a few seconds before the crash. Breathable air. Gravity slightly higher than Earth standard. Life signs everywhere. Lots and lots of life signs. He spent the next hour making trips back and forth from the ship, carrying supplies to a safer location about 50 meters away. He did not want to stay too close to the wreck. The fuel cells were cracked and leaking. It was not safe. On his 4th trip, he heard a sound that made him freeze. It was breathing. Heavy, pained breathing. And it was coming from behind a collapsed section of the ship's wing. Min knew he should walk away. Every survival instinct in his brain screamed at him to run, but he had always been too curious for his own good. Slowly, carefully, he walked around the wing. What he saw made his blood turn cold. A creature lay trapped under a large piece of metal debris. It was massive, easily the size of a small truck. It had 6 limbs, thick armored scales that looked like black stone, and a head shaped like a wedge with dozens of sharp teeth. Its eyes were golden and intelligent and currently watching Min with what he could only describe as surprise. Min pulled out his with shaking hands and took a quick scan. The device beeped and showed him information that made his situation much worse. Apex predator, native to Planet 7, extremely dangerous, territorial, known to hunt and kill sentient species. Intelligence level high, domestication potential 0, threat level critical. "Oh, that's just perfect," Min said quietly. That made a low, rumbling sound in its chest. It tried to move but could not. One of its middle limbs was bent at a wrong angle. Min could see an open wound on its side that was already infected. Green fluid leaked from it. The creature was dying. Min stood there for a long moment. He should leave. He should absolutely leave right now and let nature take its course. This thing would kill him without hesitation if it was free and healthy. But it was not free or healthy. It was hurt and trapped and scared. I'm an idiot, Min told himself. Then he started looking for a way to lift the debris. It took him 3 hours. He used pieces of metal from the ship as levers. He used rope from the survival kit to create a pulley system. The whole time, the watched him. It did not try to bite him or roar at him. It just watched with those intelligent golden eyes. When the debris finally lifted enough, the dragged itself free. It collapsed on the ground, breathing hard. Min expected it to run away or attack him. It did neither. It just lay there, exhausted. Min did something even more stupid. He approached the creature with his medical kit. "Easy," he said softly, like he was talking to a scared dog. "I'm going to help, okay? Please don't eat me." The eyes followed him, but it did not move. Min cleaned the infected wound with antiseptic. The creature flinched but did not pull away. He applied antibiotic cream and wrapped it with bandages that looked comically small against its huge body. He also injected it with pain medication from the medical supplies. When he was done, he stepped back. The raised its head and looked at him for a long moment. Then it made a sound that was almost like a purr. Min opened one of his rations and placed it on the ground near the creature. "Here, you probably need food." The sniffed the ration bar but did not eat it, not while Min was watching. As the sun started to set, Min walked back to his camp. He could feel the eyes on his back the whole way. When he looked back, the creature was still lying where he had left it, watching him. That night, lying in his emergency shelter, Min wondered if he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He had just saved one of the most dangerous predators in the known galaxy. "Rescue better come soon," he whispered to himself. In the darkness of the jungle, something large moved. Golden eyes reflected the moonlight. The had followed him. The first thing Min saw when he woke up was the sitting outside his shelter. He nearly screamed. The creature was less than 5 meters away, watching him with those golden eyes. It had not moved closer during the night, but it had not left either. It just sat there like a giant, scaly dog waiting for its owner to wake up. "Morning, big guy," Min said, his voice shaky. He had no idea why he gave it a name. Maybe talking to it made the situation feel less terrifying. It tilted its massive head to one side. The bandage on its side was still in place, though it looked small and ridiculous on such a large creature. Min slowly ate his breakfast ration while they watched. He talked while he ate, narrating everything he was doing. "Okay, so today I need to find fresh water and food. Real food, not just these ration bars. And I should check the beacon again, see if anyone's picked up the signal yet." They made a low rumbling sound. "Oh, you agree? Great. Glad we're on the same page." For the next several days, this became their routine. Min would wake up and they would be nearby, not close enough to touch, but close enough to watch. Min would talk to it constantly. He told it about his life as a cargo pilot. He told it about Earth. He told it about the medical supplies he had been carrying and how people were waiting for them. "Sorry about that," he told the creature on day 3. "You kind of ruined my delivery schedule." The huffed, Min chose to believe it was apologizing. On day 5, Min found a stream with clean water. He set up a better camp there, using pieces from the ship to build a small shelter. The followed him. It always followed him, but it kept its distance, like it was not sure if it was allowed to come closer. Min started leaving food for it every day. He shared his ration bars even though his own supplies were running low. They always waited until he walked away before eating, but it always ate everything he left. On day 7, everything changed. Min was gathering dry wood for a fire when he heard a sound behind him. He turned around and saw nothing. The jungle looked empty, but his instincts screamed danger. Something shimmered in the air near a tree. It was like looking at heat waves on a hot road. Min's eyes widened. active camouflage. Before he could move, the shimmer launched itself at him. A creature appeared midair, its camouflage failing as it attacked. It was sleek and deadly, shaped like a huge cat but with scales instead of fur. Sharp barbs stuck out from its spine, dripping with venom. Its mouth was full of needle-like teeth. Min fell backward and rolled. The creature landed where he had been standing and spun around for another attack. Min scrambled backward on his hands and knees, knowing he was about to die. Then Big Guy appeared from nowhere. The slammed into the attacking creature like a battering ram. The two predators crashed into the ground, roaring and hissing. It was brutal. The cat thing was fast, using its barbs to strike again and again. The was strong, using its massive jaws and 6 limbs to pin its opponent down. Min watched in horror as both creatures tore into each other. Blood and green fluid splattered the ground. The sounds they made were terrible. Finally, the cat thing managed to break free. It was bleeding badly from multiple wounds. There was also hurt, with several barbs stuck in its armored scales. Both predators stared at each other, deciding if they wanted to continue fighting. That was when Min did something incredibly stupid. He stepped between them. "Stop," he shouted. Both creatures looked at him like he had lost his mind, which, to be fair, he probably had. The cat thing hissed and prepared to attack again. It was smaller than maybe the size of a large horse, but it looked just as deadly. Min could see that it was weakening. It was losing too much blood. "You're hurt," Min said to it. "Both of you are hurt, and fighting more will just kill you both." The cat thing tried to take a step forward but collapsed. The roared and moved to finish it off. "Big Guy, no," Min shouted. The stopped. It looked at Min, confused. Min ran to get his medical kit. His hands shook as he pulled out supplies. This was insane. He was about to approach an injured predator that had just tried to kill him, but he could not just let it die. The cat thing snarled when he got close. Min held up his hands. "I helped him. I can help you too." He pointed at who was now sitting down, watching. The golden eyes looked from Min to the cat thing and back again. It took an hour to convince the injured predator to let him close. It snapped at him twice. Once, it managed to scratch his arm with one of its barbs. Pain shot through Min's body, and the world went blurry. Venom. He injected himself with a general anti-venom from his kit and kept working. He pulled the barbs from both creatures. He cleaned wounds. He used most of his remaining antibiotics and bandages. By the time he was done, the sun was setting, and he could barely stand. Both predators lay on the ground, exhausted and hurt. Neither had the energy to move or fight anymore. "There's a shelter," Min said, pointing back toward his camp. "It's not big, but it'll keep us dry if it rains." He did not wait to see if they followed. He just started walking. His arm throbbed where the venom had entered. Each step felt like walking through mud. Behind him, he heard movement, heavy footsteps and lighter, padding sounds. They were following him. Min built up the fire when they reached camp. They settled down on one side of the shelter. The cat thing, after a long moment of hesitation, collapsed on the other side. They were as far apart as possible while still being under cover. Min sat between them, eating a ration bar with shaking hands. He looked at "You're Big Guy." Then he looked at the cat thing. Its scales were dark gray, almost black, and it moved like a shadow. "I'll call you Shadow." Shadow's eyes were silver, and they watched him with what might have been suspicion or hunger. Min was too tired to tell the difference. He split his last ration bar into 3 pieces, one for him, one for Big Guy, one for Shadow. Both predators stared at the food for a long time before eating. They did not take their eyes off each other. As Min fell asleep that night, he realized something terrifying. He had just created the galaxy's most dangerous camping group. 2 apex predators who should be trying to kill each other, and 1 human who was too stupid to leave them alone. "If I survive this," he mumbled, "I'm requesting a desk job." Shadow made a sound that almost sounded like a laugh. Big Guy rumbled in agreement. And despite everything, Min smiled. Maybe being stupid was not so bad after all. Outside the shelter, the jungle was dark and full of dangerous things. But inside, 3 injured survivors rested together. It made no sense. It broke every rule of nature. But somehow it felt right. 2 weeks passed and Min was still alive. This surprised him more than anyone. Big Guy and Shadow had not left. Even after their wounds healed enough to walk properly, they stayed near the camp. At first, they kept their distance from each other, circling around Min like he was a buffer zone. But slowly, very slowly, they stopped trying to kill each other. Min continued talking to them. He could not help it. The silence of being alone had been crushing. Now he had listeners, even if those listeners were deadly predators who could tear him apart. "You know what's weird?" he said one morning while cleaning fish from the stream. Big Guy sat nearby, watching. Shadow was somewhere in the trees above, invisible but present. "You two should hate each other. My says and are natural enemies. You're from different planets, but here you are, tolerating each other because of me." Big Guy made a rumbling sound. Over the past weeks, Min had learned to recognize different sounds. This one meant the creature was content. "Yeah, I don't get it either," Min admitted. The turning point came when they went hunting together for the first time. Min's rations were almost gone. He had been catching fish and gathering fruit, but it was not enough. He needed real protein, and the jungle was full of animals. The problem was that most of those animals could kill him. He was tracking a small deer-like creature when Shadow appeared beside him. Min jumped. He still was not used to her camouflage ability. "You scared me," he whispered. Shadow's silver eyes focused on the prey ahead. She looked at Min, then at the animal, then back at Min. The message was clear. "You want to help me hunt?" Shadow moved forward silently. Min followed, trying to be quiet. He was terrible at it. Every step he took snapped a branch or rustled leaves, but Shadow compensated, moving in a wide circle. Big Guy emerged from the other direction. The 3 of them formed a triangle around the prey without even planning it. Shadow struck first, appearing from nowhere. The animal ran directly toward Big Guy, who caught it easily. The whole thing took less than 10 seconds. Min stood there, stunned. "We just hunted together." Big Guy dropped the animal at Min's feet. Shadow sat down next to him, looking proud. "Okay," Min said slowly. "Okay, this is insane, but it worked." From that day on, they became a team. Big Guy's strength, Shadow's stealth, and Min's planning made them incredibly effective. They always had enough food. Other predators started avoiding their territory. Even the dangerous creatures that lived deeper in the jungle seemed to sense that this area was claimed. Min began teaching them simple commands. He used food as rewards, repeating words until they associated them with actions. "Sit," he would say, showing them what he wanted. Big Guy learned first, lowering his massive body to the ground. Shadow took longer, but eventually she understood too. Stay was harder. Both predators had strong instincts to follow and protect him, but with patience and lots of treats, they learned. Come was the easiest. They always came when he called. One evening, Min was sitting by the fire, with Big Guy on one side and Shadow on the other. He reached out slowly and touched Big Guy's armored scales. They did not pull away. Min scratched behind one of the bony plates on his neck. Big Guy made a deep, rumbling purr, his eyes half closed in pleasure. "You like that?" Min smiled and kept scratching. "You're just a big puppy, aren't you?" Shadow watched this with her silver eyes. She moved a little closer. Min extended his other hand to her. She sniffed his fingers, then allowed him to touch her head. Her scales were smoother than Big Guy's, like polished stone. "There we go," Min said softly. "We're all friends here." It was in that moment, sitting between 2 of the galaxy's most dangerous predators while they purred under his hands, that Min realized something important. He had created a pack, a completely impossible, against all logic pack, but a pack nonetheless. The next day, Min tested something. He made a toy from ship parts and rope, tying them together into a ball. He threw it across the clearing. Fetch. Shadow looked at the toy, then at Min like he was an idiot. But Big Guy, surprisingly, lumbered over and picked up the toy in his massive jaws. He brought it back and dropped it at Min's feet. Good boy, Min laughed and threw it again. Shadow joined in after watching for a while. She was faster than Big Guy and more competitive. Soon they were both chasing the toy, trying to get to it first. They stopped fighting over it when Min praised whoever brought it back. That night, Min checked his again. He read the files on both species carefully. Apex predator, territorial, aggressive, pack hunters on their home world but only with their own kind. No recorded cases of bonding with other species. Domestication impossible. Solitary hunter, highly intelligent, known to kill other predators in their territory, extremely territorial, will not cooperate with other species. Domestication impossible. Impossible, Min read out loud. He looked at Big Guy, who was sleeping with his head resting near Min's leg. He looked at Shadow, who was curled up on his other side. I think we broke the rules, he told them. A terrible sound woke them that night, screaming and howling from the jungle. Something was coming toward their camp, something big and angry. Min grabbed his emergency light and turned it on. A pack of creatures emerged from the darkness. They looked like wolves but with 4 eyes and spines along their backs. There were at least 8 of them, maybe more. Before Min could even be afraid, Big Guy stepped in front of him. Shadow appeared on his other side, her scales already blending with the shadows. Both of them were growling, warning the pack to stay back. The wolf things did not listen. They attacked. What happened next was chaos. Big Guy fought like a machine, his 6 limbs and powerful jaws tearing through the pack. Shadow moved like liquid death, appearing and disappearing, her venomous barbs striking again and again. And Min stood behind them, protected. Not once did either predator leave his side. They fought as a unit, covering each other's weaknesses. When one got surrounded, the other broke through to help. The battle lasted maybe 5 minutes. When it was over, the remaining wolf things ran away, howling in fear. Big Guy had some scratches, but nothing serious. Shadow was completely unharmed. Min was safe. You protected me, Min said, his voice shaking. You both protected me. Big Guy nuzzled his arm gently with his massive head. Shadow rubbed against his side like a cat. Min sat down hard, the adrenaline leaving his body. He wrapped one arm around Big Guy's neck and put his other hand on Shadow's head. Thank you, he whispered. They stayed like that for a long time, sitting together in the firelight. A human and 2 apex predators, a pack. Later, as he fell asleep between them, Min thought about what would happen if rescue ever came. Would they let him take Big Guy and Shadow? Would they understand what these creatures meant to him now? They were not just predators anymore. They were not pets either. They were family. And Min would fight anyone who tried to take them away. In the jungle, other creatures had learned an important lesson that night. This territory belonged to something new, something the galaxy had never seen before, a pack that should not exist. But it did exist, and it was powerful. The ship appeared on day 28. Min was fishing in the stream when he heard it, the sound of engines distant but getting closer. His heart jumped. Rescue. Finally rescue. Big Guy, Shadow, he called. Both creatures appeared immediately. They had become very good at responding to his voice. Big Guy emerged from the jungle, and Shadow materialized from the trees where she had been napping. The ship flew over the canopy and landed in a clearing near Min's crash site. It was a coalition scout vessel, medium-sized, with the blue and white colors of the rescue service. Min started running toward it, then stopped. He looked back at Big Guy and Shadow. Both of them were following him, as they always did. "This might get complicated," he told them. The ship's door opened, and a ramp extended. 5 people came down. Min recognized the human captain immediately by her uniform. She was tall with short black hair and sharp eyes. The other 4 crew members were different species. An engineer, a medic, and 2 security officers who wore heavy armor and carried weapons. Captain Haywan stopped at the bottom of the ramp when she saw Min. Her eyes went wide, not because of Min, but because of what was behind him. "Cargo pilot Min," she called out. "That's me." Min waved and started walking toward them. Big Guy and Shadow followed. All 5 crew members drew their weapons. "Stop right there," one of the security officers shouted. "Those RN, get away from them." "What? No, they're with me," Min said. "With you?" Captain Haywan stared at him. "Those are apex predators, they'll kill you." Big Guy, sensing the tension, moved closer to Min. Shadow did the same, her body low and ready to fight. "Nobody's killing anyone," Min said quickly. He put his hands up. "Please don't shoot, they're not dangerous." "Not dangerous," the medic's translator made his voice high and squeaky. "Those are 2 of the most dangerous species in known space. They're probably about to eat you." "They've had 4 weeks to eat me," Min said. "They haven't." Captain Haywan stepped forward slowly. Her hand stayed on her weapon. "Explain now." Min told them everything. The crash, finding Big Guy trapped, healing him, Shadow attacking, making them work together, living as a pack. The crew looked at him like he had lost his mind. "That's impossible," the engineer said. His translation device gave him a buzzing voice. "And our territorial rivals, they kill each other on sight." "Tell them that." Min pointed at Big Guy and Shadow, who were sitting on either side of him. "And you trained them?" Captain Haywan asked. "I wouldn't say trained, more like we became friends." The security officers laughed. It was not a kind laugh. "This is insane," one of them said. "Captain, we need to neutralize those creatures before they attack." "No," Min stepped in front of Big Guy and Shadow. "You're not shooting them." Big Guy stood up to his full height, all 6 limbs planted firmly on the ground. He was massive, easily 3 meters tall. Shadow activated her camouflage, vanishing from sight. The air around them seemed to shimmer. Every weapon on the rescue team pointed at them. "Stand down," Captain Haywan ordered. "Everyone stand down." "Captain, those things." "I said stand down." She looked at Min. "Can you control them?" "They're not things," Min said angrily. "And yes, watch." He turned to Big Guy. "Sit." The massive sat down. "Shadow, show yourself, it's okay." Shadow reappeared, sitting next to Big Guy. "Stay," Min said. Both creatures stayed perfectly still. The rescue team stared in complete silence. Min walked over to the ship and picked up a piece of broken metal from the ground. He threw it. "Fetch." Big Guy and Shadow both ran after it. Shadow got there first and brought it back, dropping it at Min's feet. "Good girl," Min said, scratching her head. Shadow purred. Captain Haywan holstered her weapon. She walked closer, though she kept a safe distance. "How is this possible?" "I don't know," Min admitted. "I just helped them when they were hurt, and I treated them like they were people, like they mattered." The medic pulled out a scanner and took readings from a distance. The shows signs of bonding behavior. Their stress hormones are low, they're calm. This should not be possible. "Many things shouldn't be possible," Captain Haywan said quietly. "But humans keep making them possible anyway." She looked at Min seriously. "You understand we can't take them on the ship. Coalition law forbids transporting undomesticated predators. They're classified as dangerous fauna." "Then I'm staying here," Min said immediately. "Don't be stupid." "I'm not leaving them," Min's voice cracked. "They saved my life multiple times. They're not just animals, they're my pack." "Your pack?" One of the security officers laughed. "You're human, they're predators." "So what?" Min shot back. Humans had wolves as pack animals thousands of years ago. We bonded with creatures that could kill us. That's what we do. We make friends with dangerous things. Captain Haywan studied him for a long moment. Then she looked at Big Guy and Shadow. Both creatures sat calmly, waiting for Min's command. "If I bring them on board," she said slowly, "and they attack someone, it's my responsibility. My crew's safety is my priority." "They won't attack, I promise." "You can't promise that." "Yes, I can." Min walked over and put his hands on Big Guy's head. "This is Big Guy. He's loyal and protective, and he likes having his neck scratched. This is Shadow. She's curious and playful, and she brings me gifts when she thinks I'm sad." He looked directly at the captain. "They're people, just different kinds of people." Captain Haywan closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them, she looked tired but resigned. "I'm going to regret this," she said. "Fine, they come with us. But they stay in the cargo hold and you stay with them. Any sign of aggression, any sign at all, and we sedate them. Understood?" "Understood," Min said, relief flooding through him. "And when we get to the nearest station, you're explaining this to the authorities. All of this." "I will." Getting Big Guy and Shadow onto the ship was an adventure. Big Guy barely fit through the cargo hold door. Shadow kept activating her camouflage out of nervousness, giving the crew heart attacks every time she disappeared. But eventually, they were loaded. Min made a comfortable space in the cargo hold with blankets and supplies. Big Guy and Shadow settled down, though they kept watching the crew with suspicious eyes. As the ship took off, Min sat between his two companions. Through the small window, he watched the jungle planet grow smaller. Captain Haywan came to check on them. She stood in the doorway, keeping her distance. "The galaxy's going to lose its mind when they hear about this," she said. "Probably," Min agreed. "You know you've done something impossible, right? Something that goes against everything we know about these species." "I just helped two creatures who needed help," Min said. "Is that so strange?" Captain Haywan smiled slightly. "For most species, yes. For humans," she shook her head, "I should have expected this. You people can't see an injured animal without trying to adopt it." As she left, Min heard her talking to her crew. "Make sure this gets documented. Scientists are going to want to study this." "Study what, Captain?" "The human ability to make friends with literally anything." Min laughed and leaned back against Big Guy's warm scales. Shadow curled up next to him. The adventure was far from over, but for now they were together, and that was enough. The journey to Coalition Station 12 took 6 days. During that time, the crew learned to accept Big Guy and Shadow. It helped that both creatures never acted aggressively. Big Guy spent most of his time sleeping near Min. Shadow explored the cargo hold endlessly, appearing and disappearing in different corners. Once, she appeared in the galley and nearly gave the cook a heart attack, but she just wanted to see what everyone was doing. Captain Haywan visited the cargo hold every day. At first, she kept her distance. By day 3, she was sitting near Min, watching him interact with the creatures. "My daughter has a pet back home," she said one evening. "A small furry thing from 4. She loves it more than anything." She looked at Big Guy and Shadow. "I understand now why you wouldn't leave them." "They're not pets," Min said gently. "They're partners. Partners who could tear through this ship's hull if they wanted." "But they won't." Min scratched Shadow's head. She purred and leaned into his touch. "Because they trust me, and I trust them." When they arrived at the station, there was already a crowd waiting. News had traveled fast. A human cargo pilot had somehow tamed 2 apex predators. Everyone wanted to see it. Station security wanted to take Big Guy and Shadow into quarantine immediately. Min refused. "They don't leave my sight," he said firmly. "Sir, this is protocol." "I don't care about protocol. They stay with me, or I'm leaving on the next ship." It took 3 hours of arguing with station authorities before they agreed to a compromise. Min, Big Guy and Shadow would stay in a special containment area. Scientists could observe them, but through cameras and sensors. No direct contact without Min's permission. The containment area was actually quite nice. It was a large room with soft floors, climate control, and plenty of space. Min made sure there were comfortable places for Big Guy and Shadow to rest. The scientists came the next day, 12 of them, from different species and specialties. They stared through the observation window like they were watching something from a dream. Impossible, one kept saying. This is impossible. Doctor was the lead, a human woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She was the only one brave enough to enter the room with Min's permission. I've studied for 30 years, she said, staying near the door. Everything I know says they cannot bond with other species. They kill outsiders on sight. Big Guy's not killing anyone, Min said. He was sitting against the side, using him as a backrest. And are even worse. They're solitary hunters, they don't form packs, they don't cooperate. Shadow was sprawled across Min's lap, purring like a motor. She seems pretty cooperative to me, Min said. Doctor sat down slowly, still keeping distance. What did you do? How did you make this happen? Min thought about it. I didn't make it happen, I just treated them with kindness. I helped them when they were hurt. I shared my food. I talked to them like they mattered, like they were people, not just animals. That's it, kindness. That's it. Doctor shook her head in wonder. Do you know what this means? For decades, we've classified hundreds of species as impossible to domesticate. But maybe we were wrong. Maybe it's not about the species. Maybe it's about the approach. Over the next week, more scientists came. They ran tests, took scans, recorded everything. They watched Min teach Big Guy and Shadow new commands. They watched the creatures play together, something that should never happen between natural enemies. One researcher asked to try commanding Big Guy herself. Sit, she said firmly. Big Guy just stared at her. Sit. Big Guy looked at Min as if to say, who is this person? He only listens to me, Min explained. It's not about the command, it's about trust. The data the scientists collected was incredible. Both creatures showed bonding behaviors typically only seen between parents and offspring. Their stress levels were low when Min was present. They showed protective behaviors toward him. They had learned to cooperate, something their species never did in the wild. News spread across the galaxy. The human who befriended apex predators became famous. People called it the Min effect. Other researchers started re-examining species they thought could never be domesticated. Coalition commands sent representatives to interview Min. They wanted to know if this could be replicated. Could humans form bonds with other dangerous species? Could this change how different species interacted? I don't know, Min told them honestly. I didn't plan any of this. I just did what felt right. That's exactly what makes it interesting, one official said. Humans often do what feels right instead of what seems logical, and somehow it works. After 2 weeks on the station, Coalition Command made their decision. Big Guy and Shadow would be classified as bonded companions under human care. It was a new classification, created specifically for them. Min would be licensed as an exotic species specialist. He would be responsible for their behavior and there were conditions, regular checkups, behavioral monitoring. Min had to complete training courses on alien biology and behavior, but most importantly, he could keep them. Captain Hayone visited before she left the station with her crew. You made history, she told Min, the first human to bond with and I didn't try to make history, Min said. I just didn't want to be alone. She smiled. That's very human of you. 6 months later, Min had a new job. He worked at a research facility dedicated to human-alien-animal relations. His apartment was specially modified to accommodate Big Guy's size. Shadow had claimed all the high shelves as her territory. Other humans started bringing him impossible species, a creature from Zeta 9 that supposedly could never be calmed. Min spent 3 days with it, talking softly and offering food. Now it followed him around like a puppy. A pack predator from Andromeda 12 that was too aggressive for study. Min introduced it to Big Guy and Shadow. They taught it pack behavior. Now it was gentle enough for scientists to work with safely. Every time Min's method was the same: kindness, patience, respect, treating creatures like they were individuals, not just animals. The galaxy had a name for it now: pack bonding, the human ability to form emotional connections with almost anything. Other species found it strange and sometimes incomprehensible, but they could not deny that it worked. One night, Min sat in his apartment with Big Guy and Shadow. They were watching a documentary about Earth wolves and how ancient humans had domesticated them thousands of years ago. "We did it once," Min said to his companions. "We took wolves, the apex predators of their time, and made them into dogs, our friends, our family." He scratched Big Guy's scales and rubbed Shadow's head. "I guess we're still doing it, just with new species." Big Guy rumbled contentedly. Shadow purred. Outside, the station was full of thousands of different species, all of them living together, working together. But most of them did not understand each other, not really. They cooperated, but they did not connect. Humans were different. Humans had always been different. They looked at the dangerous, the strange, the impossible, and they said, "I can be friends with that." It made no logical sense. It went against survival instincts. It was inefficient and sometimes dangerous. But it was also beautiful. Min fell asleep that night between his two impossible friends. Big Guy steady breathing on one side, Shadow's warm purring on the other. The human who accidentally tamed two apex predators. Except he did not tame them. He had just shown them kindness, and they had chosen to stay. That perhaps was the most human thing of all, giving creatures the choice, offering friendship instead of domination, building family instead of taking possession. The galaxy was learning, slowly but learning. And it was all because one human could not walk past an injured creature without helping. Because one human refused to see monsters where others saw only danger. Because humans, for all their flaws, had one incredible gift. They could love the unlovable. They could befriend the dangerous. They could see the person inside the predator. And sometimes, just sometimes, the predator loved them back. In the morning, Min woke up to find Shadow had brought him a gift, a toy she had stolen from somewhere. Big Guy had arranged all the blankets into a nest around where Min slept. They were taking care of him, just as he took care of them. Family not by blood or species, but by choice. The best kind of family there was.